Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Page of Swords podcast. This is episode 39 with Jodie Sweeney. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Perfect. Okay. So just for everyone to know, you are a new IFBB Bikini Pro, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. So let me ask this. When did you start this whole bodybuilding journey?
So I actually started it last March 2020, 2 weeks into quarantine.
Wow, what a way to jump in there.
Yeah, I had never actually done bodybuilding ever. I was doing CrossFit for the last 9 years, which is the complete opposite of bodybuilding, but that's what kind of gave me the foundation though. But I never did time under tension or anything like that.
Okay. That's interesting. Was that, have you always been in the Pittsburgh area? Have you been anywhere else?
No, Pittsburgh, my whole life, born and raised.
Where did you
I used to go to, where did I go? CrossFit?
Mm-hmm.
Raw training in Gibsonia.
Okay.
Which is like, it's kind of like a place where you can do everything. It's CrossFit, lots of high intensity workouts. It really is the best CrossFit gym in Pittsburgh. I mean, I had like family there.
Okay. So, and then you train now at the Powerhouse, correct?
Yes. But my prep for 2020 competition, most of it, first 12 weeks of it was in my house in the basement because of quarantine.
Yeah.
But Snap Fitness in Mars was the only place that opened up like kind of halfway through quarantine because it's in Butler County. So
yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. They opened up before a lot of other places. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking, I have the NPC website up and I noticed that 2020, I was like, oh, but you did a lot of shows last year though. So you went right into it, huh?
I did. And I was really naive in that I did my first qualifying show was August 28th of 2020.
Okay.
And I qualified for nationals. I got the overall there. That was at the Elite Physique. First show ever, had no idea what I was doing. Oh my gosh. 3 days later, I do my first national show, which is North Americans under a tent. Like, if I knew what I knew now, I would have been so intimidated and scared to do the North Americans. Like, what? How is that my first national show? And I just stepped on stage 3 days ago. Like, I just didn't even know enough to be scared or intimidated.
Were you working with someone when you started the journey?
I was. So I worked with a friend of a friend. So someone that really just like a referral. One of those like, but he's not really local. That's the interesting thing. He was actually based out of Arizona. And we were doing mostly online. And then for the week since I was going to hopefully do 2 shows back to back, I flew him into Pittsburgh and I worked with him. That was the first time I actually met him in person, but he was a former IFBB pro, like your typical like bodybuilder coach, not specializing in bikini whatsoever. This is kind of like the thing that you do when you first start. You don't really know what you're doing. And hey, do you know anybody that preps people? And oh yeah, I have a friend. And then we're linked up, and before you know it, okay, now I'm doing like the bro stuff.
Yeah, and I'm sure to you it was really new to go from CrossFit to the whole bodybuilding realm where you're starting to hear words like peak week and things like that, right?
Oh, I had no idea. Yeah, that was all foreign to me. So foreign.
So you said that there were things that, you kind of learned, maybe like some mistakes and stuff from 2020. Is there anything that really stands out that might like help somebody out there?
Yeah, so I completely missed my stage time in North Americans, my individual portion of it. So I'm a master's athlete. I am age 35 and up class. And then I also do open because there's no way I'm not going to pay all that money and get dolled up and not do every class I can that day. So I ended up getting to do my master's portion, but the chaos under the tent. And again, I was completely like a baby at this. Yeah. They didn't allow anybody backstage with you. I had no idea what was going on. So I'm like just following the herd, and I get on stage, I do my routine. I didn't know that because the format of North Americans was pre-judging and finals was back-to-back. So because of COVID, which was kind of nice, there was no break. So literally you were going to do your pre-judging routine and your finals kind of back-to-back. And I didn't know where the hell I was supposed to be. I was trying to follow the girls. I ended up moving from the pack, going to go stand under the tent. I put my feet up. I'm texting my fiance. I'm like, I am so exhausted. And he calls me immediately. He's like, you're supposed to be on stage. they're calling your number right now. And my posing coach, Brittany, was next to him because she was part of a different team. Again, I wasn't even on a team at this point. I was just working with a local coach who only really had me as a client. Mm-hmm. And she gets on the phone. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh my God." Throw my phone down, run to the side of the stage. The exhibitor was like, "Oh, hell no, you're done. They already called your number. Like, you can't just now get on stage." So I was beside myself thinking that I had missed my opportunity because I didn't know what was going on at all. So I guess my advice would be just, if you're new, try to just follow the crowd. The exhibitors try, and they're like screaming and try to get everybody in line, but it's so chaotic backstage that you really just have to, and shows move so fast that you really have to like pay attention. I mean, holy freaking stress and nerves. I was back there and so I ended up just getting scratched for open class. So officially I placed 16th because I got scratched.
Yeah, I saw that, and that's like, cause you got third in Masters 35.
Yeah.
So like that showed that you had to, I would be upset too. Cause to me, that means you probably would have had an even higher placement than obviously 16.
Yeah, it would have been cool to see where I ranked in that group. Cause that was a huge class. It would have been really cool to see. It looked like second call outs based on where I was when I did go on stage. In the open class, I just missed the second part of it.
Yeah, I'm just like looking at some pictures real quick. I like the blue suit too. Was that let me compare it to your
I hate those first pictures. I'm not a fan. Oh my gosh. Well, I actually have to do a post on that about like leveling up. That's my plan with those pictures.
Yeah, leveling up for the pictures and stuff. And in bikini, I'm sure you've noticed that it comes down to all these little details in bikini. You got to have, a beautiful suit, beautiful hair and presentation and all of it. I mean, that goes for any division, but bikini is like, you got to be on point.
Yeah, and that first suit did not fit properly. I ended up having it get altered by a local company here. She fixed it for me, but it fell apart. It's falling apart. I mean, I've learned so many lessons. I just got into this last year, but the lessons I have learned, I feel like I've been doing this for years. I've learned so many things, like what not to do, just crazy, like all the little things, like improperly fitting suit, how your hair looks under the lights, makeup, like that North Americans, I chose a makeup artist that is really popular and well known, but she just made my eye makeup too dark. Like, my coach did my tan for that show. He refused to let me use the local tanning. He hand painted it on my body. Like crazy stuff like that now what I know, I would have been like, hell no. First of all, I'm not going to stand out because of my tan. The tan looked horrible. Like there were so many different things that looking back on it, I'm like, I cannot believe, but I just didn't know any better.
And you know what? I feel like, that happens, and I'm sure that made you an even better competitor for this year because, I can relate with how you felt at North Americans because my show in April was like that. It was like, I think COVID changed a lot of things with shows. Like you used to have time, and obviously COVID was when you started. So like you got it right away. Cause like at my show, I was just like, I got time. I used to sit backstage for hours, and it was not the case. Like I was like panicking when I got backstage and they told figure girls to start pumping up. I'm like, I just got here. Oh no, dropping the stuff, putting the earrings on, and that don't feel good at all. So it is better to start telling people, be ready.
Be ready, because your cortisol rises, you get stressed out. It's just not good.
So on that note too, you ended up, after North Americans, you did Universe, right? So how was the next experience?
The next experience was actually Masters National. So that was
I see it here now. Okay.
North Americans would have been in September. So it was 3 days after the Elite Physique. So the first week of September, and then I think it was right around like October, first week or right along that time frame, I ended up doing Masters because it was like, oh my gosh, you got third. You have to keep going. Like, I didn't know what I was doing with this. I just wanted to see. I got hooked. I got so hooked at North Americans. I was like addicted to it, addicted to the day of it, the feeling of it, the prep of it. So I was not stopping, especially when I got third, because I'm like, wow, this is crazy. The judges noticed me. this is wild. I've never done anything like this before.
Mhm.
This is crazy to me. So I ended up placing second at Masters National in my Masters category. And that was like, whoa, one spot away from my pro card at my third show. I was like, this is it. I'm never giving up on this. So I ended up placing second there. I think in the open, again, second call outs in the open. I actually made it to stage for that one. I was on it. I was not missing my stage time.
I just
And then
want to say
Universes.
you look so confident. Like, I just pulled up the 2 pictures, and your Masters National pictures, you can just tell there's a lot more confidence there. Like, you can tell your spirits were lifted at this one.
So at that point, that I had a new coach.
Okay.
I completely got a new suit. I even changed my hair color so it wouldn't look so brassy under stage. I went with a different makeup artist. I did everything different because I noticed just because I got third, I was not going to show up identical because I saw the pictures. I knew the day of, like, I can do better. I can bring way better than this. I know I can. So I did. I ended up letting go of my coach the day after North Americans. It just was not working out. I knew it wasn't going to be a long-term thing at that point. I just knew for my mental health, this was not going to continue. So I ended it in like a professional way. And then I ended up hiring somebody that I had met through my posing coach. I actually met him in person. I got to go to the NPC photo gym about 2 weeks before the Elite Physique. And I went with her because she was going. So I got to kind of tag along, and JM invited me down, and hey, you can come down with Brittany. So I ended up going down with my posing coach at the time. And yeah, just complete 180, different everything. I just tried to bring up not only like better body package, because I took the feedback from North Americans, which was I was a little too conditioned for bikini. That was the feedback. It was a little too much in the hamstring, I guess, a little like too hard kind of thing, which I love that look. That's my favorite look. I want to be like sharp, hard, but it just, I guess, was a little too much was the feedback, which kind of didn't surprise me because my coach was almost prepping me like a bodybuilder, like a male bodybuilder, with the way that he was prepping. So that's where it kind of like, okay, bikini, you really need to hire somebody that specializes in bikini because it is so unique. It's not like we're just graded on our muscles. It's everything. So yeah, whole new thing for Masters National. And it shows. To me, I look at those and I'm like, these are actually pictures that I like. There's a couple things I always overly critique myself, but this is good. This is in the right path. Like I just felt like I'm doing the right thing here. I can see it in the photos. I can see it in the placings. And that kind of validated me that I was doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. And are you with James? Is it the same coach?
So I have, like I said, I've learned so much. So when I ended the relationship with my first coach, I was in a pickle because it was like mid-season and I didn't have anybody. I didn't know what to do. So it was like a natural thing to move to my kind of coach who I say rescued me from the other coach mid-season because he's such a nice person. I met him at the photo gym. He came down with Brittany. That was her coach at the time. And we just hit it off. And he was more macro based. So it ended up being like a complete 180 where it was flexible dieting. I've never done that before. I never tracked macros, never weighed food until I started this journey. So that was kind of interesting. But with him, like things were just a little too like easy for me. Such an awesome, to this day, I think he's a wonderful, awesome human being, but I just felt like he wasn't the right fit for me. So we ended up doing 2 shows together, okay. Masters Nationals and NPC Universe, where I got my worst placing, 4th place. That's the worst I ever did. And that's when I knew it was like, all right, it's time to hang this up. Mm-hmm. I'm just starting to look worse now. I felt like I didn't even deserve that 4th place when I saw the photos. I'm not proud of my back shot there. It looks like I drove 13 hours to Charleston, which I did. When I see that, I'm like, yeah, I'm never doing that again. Another lesson learned. Show up a little bit earlier if you're driving into a show. Do not sit on your ass for 13 hours. The ride down to Charleston from Pittsburgh was a nightmare, by the way. It rained, got traffic, 3-hour delays. I sat on my ass and it looked like I did. It just was not a good, never again will I do that. but ended up, oh God, that was the hardest thing, like breaking up with that coach, because I didn't want to, but I knew I needed a little bit more like toughness and accountability.
Mhm.
I'm the type that I need like no BS. I need you to like tell me when, okay, really, or like your check-ins are looking a little rough. Like I need that like really assertive coach to tell me. I just need that period, or else I just know myself. I just need someone to really be like, call me on my bullshit. So that is when I ended up hiring James in December of 2020, James from Team Atlas. So it was kind of unique how I had such a short season, but I ended up, I just, like, right away, like if this is a good fit or not.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was kind of a wild, bumpy ride there for a minute, mid-season, having to hire somebody else. And then when my season ended, I got it. I was torn with this decision, but I knew like what's best for me. I need to go back on meal plan. I need more rigidness. I need more just straight up accountability. I need him to really call me on my bullshit. And my coach at that time was just too sweet. He's such a sweet guy. He's such a nice guy that I felt like I could, I don't know. I just, and now looking back, I definitely made the right decision, because James and we went pro together in our very first show, which was Universe this summer.
Yeah, that's what I was looking to go back here and see. You won the first class B in 35 at Universe, and I know this is kind of like when I met you actually at Powerhouse, was like right
Yeah,
before, because you were like, Adam said we're or I'm sorry, not Adam, James said that you guys were jumping in, so it was like, that's great, right?
totally last minute. Yeah, because our first show was supposed to be Masters National, which was my favorite show because I placed the highest, and it was in Pittsburgh. So I was like, this is it. Masters National 2021 is going to be my show because it's here in my hometown. I got second last year. Like, this is it. I'm coming for it. And then all of a sudden, James is like, you should do, how do you feel about competing at Universe? I'm like, that's in 12 days. He's like, you're ready. And I was like, I'm not ready. I'm not ready, because we were actually already planning to go to Vegas that weekend because it was July 4th. So we had to rearrange some flights. But and thank God my fiance is the most supportive human on earth. He was like, you should do it early, because that's going to be another 4 weeks of dieting. What if you get hurt? What if something happens? Like, just do it while you can and get it done. And then we can actually have fun in Vegas. So it was like, lo and behold. So we flew to Charleston this time instead of driving, learned that lesson, and complete detour, complete change of plans, ended up flying to Vegas the next day. I don't know if I recommend winning your pro card and celebrating your birthday in Vegas like the same weekend, because there's no diet. Like, you don't even think about it. You're rewarding yourself all week. I just ate like crazy. Yeah, I was in celebration mode. I just won my pro card and it's my birthday. I went crazy.
And I do want to say, because it looks like you got a new suit too. You went with a different color and everything for this show
Yep.
this year.
Yeah.
And your hair looks a little straighter. What have you? Because it looked like you always curled it before. Was it straight for this show?
Yeah, it wasn't straight, but I did use a different tool on it. I'm still experimenting with that and figuring out, because I do my hair myself, and I'm still trying to figure out like my look. Even looking back at Universe, there are a couple things I'm going to do different to the front of it. Like, I like the back and how it looked. Like it was exactly what I wanted, but the front kind of, like, there's different things where I know I see these things and I'm like, all right, I'm fixing this, this, and this. I know what I need to tweak. And those pictures from Universe, again, I'm like, I gotta stop with the rib flare. Like, I can see it. Like, I do not like those pictures because of it. I don't know what happened. Like, peak week, all of a sudden my freaking ribs started sticking out way too far, and I didn't adjust my posing. Peak week, like, I swear I lost like another inch on my waist, which was freaking crazy, because that's never happened before. I just kept shriveling up.
Yeah.
And I didn't adjust, like, okay, now my rib cage is, because my rib cage is huge.
Yeah.
And I didn't like any of those freaking photos because of it.
Well, I'll say the Universe, because the Universe in 2020 had like a red background, and it kind of like
Really weird.
Yeah, it kind of flushed you out. But at least, like, I know you said you don't really like the photos, whatever, but like from the comparison of the two, it's like it's way brighter. Like, it looks way better, like picture wise. And even like, I noticed I did look at both of your back poses because you said about the
Oh,
drive sitting on your ass kind of thing.
yeah. Oh, I was so bad.
Huge difference though, because like you said,
I can't believe they gave me 4th place. I was shocked. I was like, somebody on that panel likes me, because, and my coach, like, no one told me either how bad it looked back there. I mean, no one was like, oh shit, like, I need to be told I need to know what's going on. And no one told me, oh my gosh, you're like holding a lot of water back there. Like, this is not good. Maybe he didn't want to stress me out more, but damn, my backside never looked so bad. I looked at those photos and was like, how in the hell did I get 4th place? Because I do not deserve 4th place based on that back shot. And so in between all of that too, the amount of hours I have spent on posing, holy hell. So North Americans was a disaster with posing, just bad. I look back at my highlight reel on my Instagram the other day and I was like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Like, watching me pose, and I thought it looked good. I can't begin to tell you how many hours on posing since then, because on Team Atlas, we have an exclusive posing coach.
Okay.
She's French. She's tough as nails. She is like, it's like, redo, like over and over. Is like burned into my brain, because we take our classes over Zoom, and I was in every other day class with her, hours in my basement, and all I heard was like, redo, because you make a mistake, you start from the beginning. And holy hell, like, she's still fixing stuff. I actually got to meet her for the first time at North Americans last week. We did an in-class posing session, which was awesome. But she kills it with the posing, and she eliminates all of the little mistakes with the flailing arms, and she's just like really sharp. She's an engineer by day. That's actually her real job.
That's so
for an airline, for Canada Air, or not Canada Air, but for a Canadian airline. And she has that mentality where she breaks it down like an engineer. And I've benefited so much. So joining that team was really the best decision I could have made, because they are insane with posing. Yeah. Even my weekly check-ins with James, he knows posing so well that in the beginning it was like, redo your check-in, because you're leaning too forward in your pose. Your foot's not where it's supposed to be. Redo your check-in. So you even the redos happen check-ins. Whereas before with my coaches, it's like, I'm posing like a freaking duck, like stuff looked terrible. And it was like, oh, there was no critique, nothing on the posing. Whereas their accountability is so huge on this team that if you're sending a check-in and your posing looks like shit, they're going to tell you it looks like shit, and you have to redo, which redoing your check-ins sucks, because it's like, or it's like, oh, you already ate because they're fasted. Okay, send them later tonight. Oh my God, it's like the last thing I want to do before bed. But you do it, and it makes you such a better athlete, because had I just said, I mean, I don't know what would happen if I just said no, but I'm grateful now that they pushed me so hard. Because when I
do like a pro early, they were like, let's pay attention to detail, because you can't afford this at the pro level. So we're starting now.
That's what they do. That's what they're known for. It's the detail is just kind of nonstop. So I, at the time, was like, oh, this is exhausting. But I'm so glad, because it gave me the confidence when I went on stage for Universe, our first show together as a team in July. I just walked on there, and I just felt like confidence I've never had before. Because Masters Nationals, I was shaking like a leaf last year, shaking, like visibly shaking. I don't know what came over me. I was on the step to go on stage in the lineup, and I just completely like lost control of myself. I couldn't even like have no core control. It was hard to breathe. I don't know what happened to me. I got insane stage fright, and I went out, and when I was in my back pose, my coach at the time, because I said, I was like, did you see my legs shaking? He's like, yeah. And he was far back. He's like, yeah, I noticed that. And even then he was like still so sweet about it. James would have been like, what's wrong with you? Like, he would have been like cracking the whip. But I don't know what happened. I lost all core control. I just was like a leaf, night and day when I came out for Universe this year. I just freaking owned it. I know I did. Like, I don't know if I looked the best that day in that class, but I know I killed it with my routine. Like, killed it. Like, the feedback I got from, because that's the other thing with my team, like, your feedback is genuine, when you do really well, you're made aware of it. Just on the other hand, like you get held accountable if your posing is off or something's off. So when you get that positive feedback, it's like, this is huge because they don't bullshit you.
Right. Right.
So
And
when
that's
I came
what
out,
you need. Absolutely. Like I said, they want to treat you like a pro, because once you're a pro, like, it's serious business, and the posing is everything. So I'm glad that you can stress that too, because I don't realize, or people don't realize how important
no,
posing conditioning even is. Like when you're on stage, like you have to learn to like not only hit the pose, but sometimes hold it. And while I feel like bikini might not be as bad as figure, because in figure you really got to learn to hold the quarter turns, but at the same time, like if it's a heavy competition, like you want competition, right? And they will make you hold it, and they'll just keep, circling around, in bikini, like the judges are going to have to, really really pick at what they want with you girls. So you got to
you
hold it, and you got to
stand
keep the
like a statue.
confidence too.
You have to stand like a statue, and like the whole like wiggling around and flailing around. Like in the NPC level, if you're standing up there and you look like a pro, you're going to get their attention. Even if it's just how you're holding your pose, you're not standing there out of breath, panting like I was at Masters National, or flailing your arms around. Like if you carry yourself like a pro, you're going to stand out.
Absolutely. They will notice. I say that judges notice confidence. I mean, hell, even me, going to a show, I like all the divisions. I try to pay attention to everything, and you can tell who practiced posing. You can
Oh,
tell.
absolutely.
And I was curious, did you get any sort of feedback from the judges from when you got your pro card?
Yes, I did get feedback from Sandy that they want, and I knew that what the feedback was going to be, and that's why I'm trying to push hard as hell right now. But more center glute roundness.
Okay.
All the feedback was around my like glute hamstring area, which makes total sense to me. I need more depth and just overall like glute roundness. Like center glutes is what she specifically said, but we're trying to grow that whole area. I just need a little bit more density down there. I don't naturally have that. I mean, I have like white girl ass. Like I'm genetically like predisposed to look like a baked potato on sticks. Because when I gain weight, it's like all right here, and it's not in like the good places at all. And then when I lose it, it's immediately like in my ass. So I have to work really hard to get that lower body, because I never put a focus on it ever. I mean, CrossFit, we would do lifts and whatnot, but if anything, that thickens your waist. And that's one thing that we're trying to like, thank God genetically, one thing that's going for me is I never had a big waist, but all those 9 years of CrossFit lifts thickens your obliques. So, like you watch the CrossFit games, a lot of the girls are just built like a little, yeah, that's what I mean. And so I'm really trying to put an emphasis to make sure those obliques, because they're already a little strong, don't get any thicker, because all those overhead lifts, all those movements I did definitely didn't do me any favors in that regard. So
Your shoulders, if anything, which is good for bikini.
yeah, I think I had a good foundation to start this, which helped me look like I didn't just, and the muscle maturity being in the master's class, I do have that going for me too. I don't have like little baby muscles.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, I'm 29, and I keep telling girls too that are really trying to rush to get the pro card. I'm like, why? Like the best years of your muscle building is
Yeah.
going to be 30, 35. Like there's no rush.
and I've never gotten feedback that I need more upper body, or no feedback about the waist, which I will say North Americans last year, my waist was completely blown out. You can see it. It's crazy. So there's like where I didn't know what I didn't know. And the reason why my waist was blown out makes sense to me. I was eating double quarter pounders like 12 in the morning before the show, because that's how my coach peaks me. And yeah, I did have French fries at 1 in the morning, and like bowls of cereal with milk, like stuff that I hadn't had in months, because I was on like kind of like a bro diet for like, fish and tilapia, chicken and tilapia, 25 grams of sweet potato, like, and then all of a sudden peak week, I'm eating cereal, giant bowls of like Lucky Charms, double quarter pounders with cheese, French fries. And I'm looking at these pictures and I'm like, holy shit, my waist is thicker than it is in like real life, not prepping. I hate those I'm doing a post on that. It's on my list where I talk about specifically like what not to do. Because one of my things that I want to do, I want to like help girls. I want to educate girls. I want to help them so they don't make the same mistakes I did. If something looks like a red flag, it's a red flag. If it feels wrong in your gut, it's wrong. And I've spent thousands on those mistakes because my first experience was not cheap. It wasn't like, oh, you got someone that wasn't a big name, must have saved some money. Oh, hell no. The same pricing is what I'm paying for literally one of the top bikini coaches. The team I'm on is, if I'm not arguably, like at least top 5 for the sport of bikini. And pricing is pretty much the same. I'm like, holy hell, how did they make that mistake? So I just want to be a resource. I want to figure out a way where girls feel like they can open up to me and come to me, which that is happening on my Instagram. I have multiple girls who reach out and I just freaking love it. I reply back to every single person. I've become friends with these people through that platform where I'm like, now I feel like a part of their journey and I love it. And I want to do more of that. I want people to reach out, run something by me. I'll give you an objective or just ask me questions. I had a few girls reach out about even joining my team. Always brutally honest with them about what I like, what I don't like. And if you think you can handle it, like here's like an outline. Like you're going to work harder than you've ever worked in your life and your hand's not going to be held. So if you're ready for that, then come up to this level because it's not going to be easy. Prepping on my team is not like a hand-holding easy prep by any means. Maybe some people have it easier than others. If you're an ectomorph and you're God's favorite and you get fed 3,000 calories and you have like 10 minutes of cardio, well, you're God's favorite. But most of us are not going to be like that.
Right. And I'm glad, like, that's why I really wanted to bring you on, because I know with you being a new pro and I'm a new pro too, I have that same mindset. Like I love doing the podcast and I really want to do what I can to get people to come to you to help, because with everything going on with coaches, like you need to give these girls brutal honest with coaching. Like if you're going to spend the money, like make sure you're ready. And I'm going to tell you how it is, because some girls, if they didn't ask you for feedback or advice, they could just jump into it. And man, like it sounds like it's a pretty intense team. So I don't know, mentally it could like drain them or burn them out, but it's good to have that pep talk from, another client of that team and just be like, listen, trust me, like it's worth it, but you have to be in the right mental space.
Yeah, you got to be consistent. You got to send your check-ins because you're not going to be chased to provide those. It's just like it's the big girl journey. Like if you're just trying to check something off your bucket list to say you did it, and you want to have like a 6-week prep and step on stage looking like shit, well then that's your journey and that's okay. And who's to say that? I mean, if you feel great, maybe that's all you really needed.
True. Just new advice and guidance from a good coach. Now, moving forward, you're kind of working on your glutes and everything. What kind of exercises are you kind of mainly focusing on? Is James giving you like a glute program? Because I know he's got great athletes like Laura Lee and stuff. And
oh my God,
I know. Glutes.
She's goals.
What's the story with that?
So I did her program actually. So I took December from up until I started prepping for, I thought Masters National as into my off season. So it wasn't like super long, but I did Laura Lee's group because as a team member, you get access to her program. So I actually did that for 12 weeks. And then after I did that, actually my whole prep was her program, just specifically glutes and of course shoulders. I'm not going to neglect those. But what I do, James kind of provides like an outline, like basically a split of workouts to do. But I needed something because I've never ever done progressive overload. Even last year's prep, my first prep, I didn't really do where I'm tracking things, tracking the weights. I never did that. I don't know how I guess like newbie gains. I mean, I did well for myself. No progressive overload, no like actual noting. Okay, I did this last week. I did that last week. I need that structure because I still consider myself a new lifter. And I come into the gym and I just wasn't really like, oh, I guess I'll do legs today. I wasn't like putting like a super hard focus on it. So what's interesting, and people might find this interesting, is I actually went and I'm on Team Atlas completely, hook, line, and sinker. Like I ain't leaving. I'm on the team, but James doesn't give you like specific workouts unless it's like an additional part of the program. And so I just felt like, I guess I don't really need that. I talked to him. He's like, you don't really need that. You know what you're doing. So I ended up reaching out to Brett Contreras. So I'm actually, I'm doing like a 1-2 punch. So James is doing all of my, you know, obvious posing, nutrition, like that's actually my team. Mm-hmm. But Brett is providing me, the glute guy. Brett is providing me my monthly workouts. We do like changes every 5 weeks or so. So I'm on phase 2 right now. Because I figured like there is no better guy. Like I did Laura Lee stuff, I do my Team Atlas stuff, but I needed something again where if I'm paying extra for something and I'm tracking it in that way, I'm gonna stick to it. Like just in my mind, if I'm paying for something, I took it like outside the team, which I know there's quite a few girls that have done similar things just because James is really like the bikini competition, the posing, like all of that stuff. He doesn't really do like a ton of, here's, besides like with Laura Lee, like the glute guide, he doesn't really have like a specific, like, okay, here's your workout plan specifically. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because James really prides himself on he literally is the only coach of all these girls. There is no like second, third, fourth string. Like it's James. James is doing my check-ins. James is handling all my food. James is critiquing me, like that's it. Angeline just does the posing. So honestly, I think it would just be too overwhelming for him to now, for however many 500 athletes he has, to now like be working on their workout split. So I think that with he's specializing me here, Brett is going to specialize because it's 2 different things, but they work perfectly together. Yeah. So, and then I had a couple IFBB pro girls do the exact same thing with Brett, and their asses are insane right now. Like, but the one, her feedback was actually tone it down. So I asked around and like, okay, so this is kind of a common thing where you do maybe in your off season, reach out and get some additional specifically guided training. So Brett, first time in my life, I got my little, you see me at Powerhouse, I look like a little nerd. I'm running around with my notebook and I'm constantly, never done this before, doing progressive overload, getting PRs. I didn't even know if I would have had a PR before because I never tracked it. Mm-hmm. I just went in and went to failure. Didn't really have like a set thing. So with Brett, I get a specific, and it's crazy. It's not high reps. I mean, it's very like 4 exercises, very low reps. I've never done anything like it before. And like I'm actually saving time in the gym because he asked me, how many days a week do you want to work out? How much time do you have? And it just fits so perfect. Like, I can't believe I've never done this before.
Right. I think some people, like you said, like it's a body part that you want to work on, and people always think they have to do the most, when I'm sure you're realizing this now, like it's not even about that. Like it's like you said, like lower rep, you're probably doing like 4 sets of 8, oh my 8 gosh, or something like that.
Yeah. And I would kind of like dread it too, because I thrive on structure, which is why I love this team. But as far as the workouts go, I didn't really have a ton of structure. I would just go in with my significant other, and then what do you want to do today? And then whatever he did is what I would do, which no, man, I need to, he's not working on his glutes. Like these glutes need to grow, and he's a man. He could give 2 craps what his glutes look like. Mm-hmm. So I hate hip thrusts. I hate them. I know I need to do more of them because I hate them. So I figured Brett Contreras, you know, he invented that, or so he says. He invented the freaking hip thrust. So they are on my program. Even the second one.
Yeah, because at the Powerhouse, I was going to say they do have the best hip thrust machine. So I do know that. So you're in the perfect gym for that.
Well, what's funny is they ordered that for me. The one in the corner next to the hamstring machine. God, they're the nicest people. So Lisa, the owner, the co-owner, she flat out asked me, like, what do you want here? Yeah. Is there anything do you think we need? Because they never owned a gym before. Yeah. And I'm not like Miss Gym either. I don't freaking know. Like, but I said to her, it'd be really nice if you had a glute machine. And I pulled up on the internet that glute builder and the one that's next to the hamstrings in the back. And she ordered it right in front of me.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Like that. They want the equipment that people want to use. Like the fact
I
that
could not
it's
believe
healthy.
that. I thought she would be like, oh, sure, we'll think about it. When she saw the price, maybe they would say no. It literally was on order, and she was messaging me, like telling me the date it was going to arrive.
Yeah.
And then she had me show her how to use it, which was crazy. Well, what's funny is that now I like the one that they ordered up front way better.
It's smooth.
The one, yeah, the little one, the Arsenal Strength one I like that one a lot better.
Yeah, and I love the pendulum squat that's like right there too. So if you ever want to hit double whammy, it's
I can't believe they loaded that up. I did ask for a sissy squat machine, like just like a little one that doesn't take up much space.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I figured they could easily throw that in there.
Oh, for sure.
That would be nice.
I'm surprised they don't have that.
Yeah, like the little one, they could bolt it to the floor, and like I feel like that would get a ton of use. Like people are trying to do that in the Smith machine, and there's only one Smith machine. We need another one of those too.
Definitely, yeah, because I know for as many people that go there.
Oh my gosh, it's gotten crazy.
Oh, I bet. I mean, I haven't been up there in a while just because for me it's a longer drive, but it is worth it when I go. But I've heard that, it does get busy like after work hours for sure.
It's way more than when I first, because I joined right when they took it over almost from Body Tech, and it was definitely like, okay, this is doable. Oh man, there's people driving from Bridgeville to work out there.
Oh, but it's worth it. Like I said, like
Yeah.
for me it's a long drive, but it's worth it. They have great equipment. And like, I get it. And it's a pretty big gym too. And it's not small.
I'm most impressed that they don't charge their trainers. Last year they even said any trainers in the area that want to train their clients in our gym, you're welcome to, free of charge. Like that was I'm not a trainer, but I couldn't believe like how generous that was, because I mean, everyone's out there just trying to make a living. And the fact that they bring anybody, you can train your clients as much as you want. So yeah. I have started doing some posing, and the fact that they don't even care. I can just use one of the posing rooms. It's so nice.
So nice. Definitely. That's so important too. Like, I think for the most part, don't they just want the person to have a membership or something like that, or pay for a day pass?
Yeah, something like that. And the people, they already had memberships there. So it just worked out.
Right.
And they're just so sweet. I've just never seen, they actually inspired me so much that I am contemplating, well, this is probably a long shot, but I'll give you like a little peek into what I'm trying to do. I would love to make fitness my life somehow.
Yeah.
And I love it. I'm passionate about it. I just don't know how to do that. Like I actually signed up for NASM CPT courses to be a personal trainer. Yeah. And then life got insane and got in the way. I had to put it on the back burner. The other thing we didn't talk about is like how crazy this prep was. I moved 3 times during this prep. Wow. I sold my house in Gibsonia to prepare to move out of state. So I moved 3 times, and then I also started a new job in April. So the whole reason why we ended up not moving out of state was this job offer, which I didn't apply for. I was actually interviewing for jobs in Florida and was in the final interview stage for 2 companies. I had to back out. And I only agreed to interview with this company in Pittsburgh as practice for those jobs, and ended up getting that job. And it was such a good opportunity. And we tried to get out of the sale of the house, not happening. So now we're renting, and the ultimate goal is to move to Florida, or maybe we're looking at Scottsdale, and we're also looking at Las Vegas. And what's interesting is Scottsdale does not have a powerhouse gym.
No. I forget what they have out there that's like really nice. I forget if it's like, I can't remember off the top of my head. But man, now that you said Las Vegas, like the Dragon's Lair looks super cool. You were there, right? You went.
Yep. Yeah, we went.
Looks so cool. Oh my gosh.
It is cool. It's a lot smaller than I thought it would be.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we did, but it's super awesome. It has everything you need. There's not 2 levels. It's just you walk in, and it's definitely smaller than Powerhouse. And then we did Fit Club Vegas. Which that's cool. What we do. Like my favorite thing, we travel all the time. We don't have kids, like big dog babies. That's our pastime, is to travel in grocery stores in new cities and gyms. That's my love language. That's my love language. We need a Publix here. We need a Publix here so bad, and a Kroger. I love Kroger so much. I cover West Virginia. So my day job is medical sales, and I do have a large territory. I hit Kroger up in West Virginia. I love it.
It's great. Yeah, Wegmans is great. And like, cause like I actually do grocery store advertising. So like I do a lot of grocery store, like research and everything too. And it's, when I go different places, that's what I'm up to. You know, you got the
Oh yeah.
theater and everything else. Like, and you know, Kroger, I don't eat like that anymore, but back when I started this job, like Kroger's got a great hot deli. Like, it's like the weird stuff where I'm like, do people not realize like how good some of these
Well,
grocery
so does Shop and Save. Oh
Yeah.
my God, Shop and Save kills it with the chicken fingers.
It's great.
I love Shop and Save. So I think, so Las Vegas just opened up a powerhouse gym July 17th.
Iris Kyle's.
Crushed my souls and dreams of doing that. And then obviously Fort Lauderdale has a powerhouse gym.
Yeah.
And that's where we would move to. So Scottsdale, man, they do have they have a really good outdoor gym. And then they have another like big indoor facility that's pretty popular, but they do not have a powerhouse.
So now you're like, I want to open up a franchise, huh?
Yes, I'm actually definitely, it's the only business idea that Dan, my significant other, has approved of. He owns his own business and he's the most savvy, intelligent, smart human being I've ever met when it comes to that stuff. And he was like, yeah, that is actually doable. So we'll see what happens. I mean, who knows?
What division does he compete in?
So he does not. He's a retired powerlifter.
Oh, wow. So I thought he competed. That's crazy.
He looks like he competes. Yeah, he does not look like a powerlifter at all. Oh, wow. He's not your stereotypical. He actually holds world records in his weight and age class. And I think he just got beat in the one by 3 pounds by some young kid.
That's actually really cool. I honestly think that might even work out better, that he's got, you know, powerlifting and then you've got bodybuilding, but it meshes well.
He helps me with these lifts. Like he was helping me with my back squat yesterday at Powerhouse that like I PR'd because of the cues he gave me. Like he's really good in that sense. When I met him, he was still competing 7 years ago. I remember going to his first meet and oh my God, our first date, he's like showing me his video because he was so proud of himself. I'm like, oh my God, if this dude shows me one more video of him deadlifting at a meet. But I'll never forget when we first started dating, we went to Vegas because he had a meet there. And the first time I actually seen it in person, of course, it was crazy because he tore his meniscus and we later found out, but it just beat up his body so much. It really did. Like he couldn't put his socks on in the morning. And he's not like a young whippersnapper anymore. So it tore his body a lot. So now he just focuses on like the higher reps. But yeah, he used to be at LA Fitness in Bridgeville trying to, you know, 1 rep powerlifting. Like when you are training for powerlifting, it's like you go in, you do a rep.
Yep.
So he would be like the worst guy there because he's trying to deadlift 600 pounds at LA Fitness. And people just hated him there. It was the worst. But we had nowhere else to go because we always lived in North Hills. So there really wasn't like a good gym up here that you could do that stuff with till Powerhouse. But of course he's retired now. But that setup in Powerhouse is beautiful.
Oh yeah. No, it kind of sucks in that way. But I'm sure he's loving the gym now and he's retired. And you know, you said like fiance, correct? So is there a wedding plan?
So that is hilarious. We applied and did so 7 years together, 5 years engaged. No one's going to beat that. No one's going to beat that record. So we are just so like, I don't know, I feel like we're already married. We applied for all the license. I guess in state of PA, we are common law married. Okay. Someone just told me that, which is like, oh, Jesus. But we applied for all the paperwork. We did all that stuff last year. And then COVID kind of happened. I only want a courthouse wedding. I don't want anything fancy. So just to back up a little bit, I do not want a big thing. We've been together 7 years. We owned our home together, sold it. Like I do not want that. No way. So what we might do, what we're talking about now, this is hilarious. I've not told anybody this, so this is like exclusive. We're talking about doing, we'll see we'll see. But Las Vegas, we're going there soon. And we're thinking about doing like one of those crazy Las Vegas weddings.
Oh my God, I love this idea because it's what I want to do. Because I don't know if you've noticed, but you can get married at Denny's and Taco Bell. And I'm like that weirdo who would want to do that. Like, especially
I saw that. There's a Taco Bell wedding. I saw that. There's also this thing called the wedding wagon where you can hire them. It's 30 minutes. They bring a photographer. They bring a minister. For $150, they will go wherever you want them to in Vegas, as long as they're allowed. So one of the cool spots that you could go to is the Las Vegas sign.
Yeah.
Like you could literally get married there, and there's cameras on the Las Vegas sign. So you could actually tell friends, okay, at this time on this day, log in if you want to see me get married. And the whole thing is like 30 minutes. And it sounds so cool. And I don't know if you noticed, probably not. I only usually when I travel, I'll be sharing it on my stories. My dog Charlie goes everywhere with me, everywhere. So she's been to Canada, she's been to, Montreal, Vancouver, Las Vegas, of course. She goes to all my shows with me. She's part of like my check-ins. She's on my back when I'm doing it. Like she's my sidekick. And she is definitely like JM knows her. It's hilarious. Charlie's always just there. She's in the crowd with Dan. He gets a lot of attention with that dog. Let me tell you, like he gets women coming up to him all day. Like, ooh, who's this? Ooh, who are you? Like if I wasn't around, holy chick magnet. It's hilarious. He can never wait to tell me, like at the end of the day, like you should have seen how many women came up to me and like, because they're like a guy with a dog that cute, because she's a little Frenchie mix. He's loving the attention. He loves it. But I even got her a little bridesmaid dress because she would of course be there.
Oh
so we'll see. We'll
well,
see.
I still have it because that's something I would do.
I have to make the arrangements still. I have to call and see if it's doable like that week. But I mean, we might as well.
Yeah, go have fun. Go do something unique. It'll be something that you'll remember, get pictures, and it sounds like you guys like Vegas and might even end up living there. So I think that'd be a great way to start that journey. And I don't know. To me, it just sounds like so much fun.
There's
Really.
all these little chapels too. So, but I think that would be the coolest because it's definitely weird and unique. You can even get married in the neon sign. Museum? Have you heard about that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. You got to do it all, man. You got to like see what you can, because like Vegas, it's like, they're known for that kind of stuff. They're just like, hey, you want to get married? We'll make money off of it,
Yeah, the wedding wagon will go there. Well, it's funny. I don't know how these impulsive weddings happen because you still need to get your marriage license there, and it still takes. You can put a rush on it, but it still takes a couple days.
Yeah, right. I'm not.
So I don't know how these like quickie weddings. Because I looked into it on our last trip, the weekend of Universe, and I'm like, you still have to apply for the license there, and it's definitely not an overnight process. I don't know how these people are getting married at like 1 a.m. randomly.
Right. I guess they just do it and say they did it and just let the paperwork sort itself out. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know either because we live in PA. I guess it's a legal wedding, even though you live in PA and you do it in Vegas. It's the real deal. Because that was my other question. Well, do I have to come back and like file paperwork here? And no, like it's real. So
that's what's great about Vegas. It's like a free for all, and then you can just do whatever.
No, that's why living there would be so cool. Because again, no kids for us, and we actually ran around with a realtor the weekend that we went out there after winning my pro card. That was part of the trip. So we already know like the areas we would live in. It's just right now, the housing market is bonkers. So everywhere, especially Florida, and we have a realtor in all 3 cities now because we're really trying to like narrow it down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a good problem to have. He can work anywhere because of his business.
Yeah.
And my job, like I hopefully like to transfer, but I've been doing sales for 15 years now. So my resume, I feel confident that I could get a job. But ultimately, my life, I would love it to be fitness. I would love to do something fitness related.
Definitely. Yeah. Own a gym, or hell, even like a Smoothie King bar if you want to franchise. Go open like a fruit, like still like fitness oriented type of food joint would probably be even a backup, those places.
Well, that's part of the business plan is if you do own a gym, you need to have somebody in that gym renting space off of you. So inserting a protein or smoothie bar in the gym itself so that you do have income coming in, not just from gym members, but an actual business that's renting in your space, like a like for like business. So a protein bar, that is owned by somebody else, but they're paying me rent because they're, I'm providing, it's like a like for like business that's under the same roof, that it just makes sense having like 1 or 2 of those.
Yeah, that'd be great. It sounds like, like you said, your fiance has businesses, so you guys have that background and everything. So it sounds like you'll be set up for success no matter what you plan to do. And then your travels is really exciting. Plus, I'm pretty sure the Olympia might be going back to Vegas. So if you guys go back to Vegas, like the Olympia is going to start coming back here
next
soon.
year.
Yeah. So I think it's a good time now to start planning if that's where you end up going. And even if you're in Scottsdale, you're really not all that far from Vegas.
No, it's a few hour drive. That's one of the draws of it. Besides, it's the desert. You notice I can't stand Pittsburgh weather. Like I'm contemplating moving to the desert because I can't take it anymore.
Yes, and believe me, that's where USA's was. My coach is in Phoenix, and I was like, oh, like the mountains are pretty, but everything's so sandy color. Like,
yeah, and Scottsdale is right there. So if I had Scottsdale as our home base, I could actually, my sales territory would probably be like Phoenix and that whole area. So, and Dan went there. I couldn't go because of prep and because of my new job, but he actually went and explored it. I've never been there. It's hilarious. I've never been there, but he and I share the exact same like taste and like we've like morphed into the same person over the years.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, you would love it. You would absolutely love it.
Well, hey, wherever you end up moving, I might just join. We might even go do a pro show together. So I'll just like stay in the guest bedroom and
yes. And that's our thing. We're making sure that we have space for people who, when they come in for shows or just friends, because we're going to be moving out of state. So there will definitely be space, like a couple of bedrooms.
That's great. Well, you know what? You've been such a pleasure to talk to. I'm already almost getting to an hour. I could talk to you forever. That's why I love doing the podcast because, while we're at a powerhouse, we haven't really had too much time to talk. And I know you've got a busy life with your job, and me too. And being that I can't always go to Powerhouse, I haven't even seen you in a hot minute, but this has been a great conversation. And I really hope that girls reach out to you for bikini advice and posing. Hey, hell, if you ever want to do some sort of like posing seminar at Powerhouse,
oh my God,
maybe we could do that. I could do figure. You do bikini.
That would be incredible. That would be awesome. We should totally do that.
Definitely. And I think, maybe closer to like the holidays, because there won't be so much going on, if we can, we'll talk about it. But
yeah, that is an excellent idea. And I know Lisa and Matt, the owners, would totally support that. Absolutely. They love the community. They love it.
Right. Well, I know Morgan Rice did that with Amy when she was up here for wellness. They had like,
I saw that.
But they didn't do, well, I think they did bikini because Amy does it a little bit, but obviously she's not here anymore, and I do figure, and I was kind of like, where's figure, And we could even probably find someone for physique. I know Emily's there.
Oh, yeah, she would probably love to do that. Our Olympian, hell yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
We just think I thought of like the best idea ever. Emily, me, you, and we could capture all three. And there's so many girls locally, in prep and doing this. Mm-hmm. Like they're posing via Zoom, like just like a nice little, I don't know, like, and we could really think of like something, how else to bring value for this, like wrap value to them. Yeah, this is awesome. I
think it'll be perfect. And we got time. Like I said, like maybe after the Olympia for Emily, we can get something together. And you know what, even if there's not a lot of girls in prep, we can promote how important it is to pose in your off season and be.
Oh my gosh, I know. I try to tell girls that, like, please don't start 5 weeks from your show. Yeah. It's going to be really tough. You really need to be doing it. I mean, even in off season, I'm taking classes twice a month. Like, you really need to work on that. Muscle memory is a real thing. And it's like heartbreaking when they want to start focusing on that 5 weeks out in bikini, because bikini, like I said, I don't think I look the best on stage when I won my pro card. I don't know. I'm trying to be objective about it. I don't think, especially my glutes, but somehow I got my pro card, and I attribute that to the hours I spent posing. Hours, literal. Like, James does not provide like fake BS feedback. He was like, that was the best amateur routine I have ever seen. Like, nice. Your stage presence and your confidence. And I was like, oh my God, the King James is giving me a compliment like that, but he's no BS. So to get that from him, I was like, floored. That felt as good as getting my pro card, because I worked so hard on it.
You did. You worked very hard, and hey, it does mean something to go pro. It really does. I'm starting to learn that more and more, because it kind of caught me off guard, but we worked hard and we got rewarded, and the judges picked who the winner was. So that has to mean something.
I can't wait to pro debut next spring or summer.
I can't wait,
When is
man.
yours?
Pittsburgh Pro 2023. So I'm gonna take a little bit longer.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait. Because like I prepped for a full year and I want to take a full off season, and I think next Pittsburgh Pro is too soon. But yeah,
I
I'm
don't
at
know
least
if I could stay away that long. Oh my gosh. And the other thing that eats me is the fact that you're 29. My biggest regret doing this is that I didn't start sooner. I'll
well,
be
yeah, and I
30.
understand that.
I'll be probably 38 years old by the time I step on stage as a pro. So
But you don't like it.
that is like constantly nipping me my heels. Like, how
Mm.
much time do you really have? Like, if you want to do something, you need to like get out there and do it. So that's what's kind of like pushing me, or else maybe I would be able to take time off. But I feel like, man, I'm running out of time. I don't know. I just wish I started sooner. I really do.
Well,
Because here I am.
you have a plan. So I think that, where you're at, you can maybe do a shorter off season because you're just focusing really on your glutes. Cause like you said, your
Yeah,
upper body's there, your posing's good. And then you've got a great team. You have a plan. It's just that, just got to build a booty, but you're doing what you need to.
God, it's hard.
I'm sure. All right. I could talk to you forever and I'll
I
keep you
know.
forever.
I
But
literally could do this. I didn't even realize what time it was. And we're
I
both
know we
trying to
both
go
got to
to
get ready for the gym.
we're both trying to live. Well,
Well,
I
thank
love
you
this.
so much for coming on. And just so everyone listening, please follow Jodie. And your Instagram is going to be, is it JOMARSWE? I don't know how to
Yes,
say
it's
that.
Joe Marsweet. It's
Okay,
just when I created that account, it was basically just like everything else was taken. It's the first two initials of my name, Jodie Marie Sweeney. So Joe Marsweet.
got it. And I will make sure that that is in the description box for everybody to follow you and reach out to you if they have any questions or help. I think it'll be great. And me and you will start planning a posing seminar.
That is the best thing ever. I'm so excited for that.
All right. Again, thank you so much, Jodie. I had a blast, and go work hard at the gym. And I do see your story, so I want to see more training footage.
Oh, you like that?
I did.
need
I
to do
saw your
more of
squat
that.
yesterday.
I
Yeah.
do need to do more of that. It's just hard, especially when it's busy. I'm that girl with the tripod.
Yeah. Well, good luck and get at it. We'll be ready for that pro debut.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I loved it.
Thank you. Have a good day.